Dr. Doug here with you on our Saturday conversation. And so we're here today, our second Saturday conversation. We have with us Meals on Wheels of San Antonio. Hello, everyone.
Hey guys, we have
there we go. I kind of sprung that on you. Sorry about that. So we got Vincent Ferris, who's the CEO, William Truelove, who is the program director, and our old friend and buddy who's been here many times, Forrest Main, who's, she does everything.
She does everything.
That's right. Keep these two in line. That's my
And
whole job.
welcome. I appreciate you guys taking the time, especially during the trying times that we're in right now. But so, I've been doing this show, as far as I used to do it during the week. I used to do it every day. And they used to just have folks come on Thursdays. But then, it's and I got 2 months to do during it. So I'm here on Saturdays. So I'm doing these shows on Saturdays. Been doing this since last year. And, it kind of would be like if there was a nonprofit that had a fundraiser or something going on, I'd have them on the air. Otherwise, if I was by myself and being a life coach, I'd always talk about what I wanted to. It's like, we're going to set goals today. We're going to talk about leadership today. And so all of a sudden, none of that stuff matters anymore because now we have things where we're in there's not to overbeat a phrase, the new normal. And I was just over the past week and a half, I just, okay, well, this is fine. People stay home for a little bit. The non-essential people, because it went from, well, if you don't have to go to work, you can work remotely, fine. So I thought, okay, well, that's pretty cool. So then it was like, if you're non-essential, you can work remotely, and your company, here's some resources that will help you do it. And then it came down to, well, kind of like, really everybody should try to work from home. And then next thing you know, well, we're going to social distance for a week. Well, make it 2 weeks. And then after 2 weeks, it's like everything is shut down everywhere. Everyone's at home. And so people are afraid. People are scared. And of all the things that happen, when things like this occur, the people, the voiceless, are the silent sufferers, and that's many of your constituents. And so I was, quite frankly, really pleased when it showed that you guys didn't have to shut down operations like they did everywhere else. The fact that you guys are still open, I was really pleased about that. But then I got this press release that came out, and it talked about how some of the initiatives you guys are trying to do to help not only your own day-to-day, which are a ton. I don't mean to minimize that, but if you look at the number of people these people feed, it's incredible. But now you're even trying to help others that aren't part of your normal, customers, so to speak. I don't mean to use that term loosely, but
right.
So
the people that we have traditionally served on a daily basis, of course, have self-quarantined early because they self-quarantined because it's circumstance.
Right.
Our primary we serve out of their home. They can't go to the store. They can't prepare a meal for themselves. That sort of thing. And so we are serving them in the best way we can right now going forward. We are still taking on new clients. It's difficult. Our lines are really being taxed with the calls that are coming in. We encourage people who are calling in to realize there may be someone out there in a worse shape situation than they are. Absolutely. So we want them to ask, do I really need Meals on Wheels now, or does Ms. Smith down the street need it more than I do because she is in a wheelchair and can't get out?
Right.
But it is a different day today. Hopefully, down the road, it's going to be more back to the norm.
Oh, it will be.
This
is going to make it happen sooner, and sooner could be October. But at least it's not fatalistic.
Right. Also, San Antonio has been so blessed to have such a wonderful volunteer group who pound the pavement, knock on the doors, check on these folks daily, hand that food to them, visit with them for a little while, make sure they're okay.
Yeah.
Well, we can't do that right now. We are practicing social distancing.
Right.
And so we're knocking on the door, having the food in a bag, and then hanging it on that doorknob there, taking several steps back and waiting for that client to come to the door.
So you do wait for them to come to the door?
Yes. Yes.
That's good.
We don't ever want to leave food outside and unattended.
Okay. But we want to make sure that they're okay.
Right. Well, that was my bigger concern, not necessarily the food, but people don't understand. People that are upset about this social distancing, like this you just so artfully described, your constituents been practicing social distancing for years.
Right. That's exactly right. And you, sir, knowing Meals on Wheels the way you know Meals on Wheels from your mom's
Absolutely.
experience and you growing up. I mean, these people, the food's important.
Yes,
I've been
it is.
doing this a long time, and I used to be the one that'd stand on the table and go, "It's all about the food. The food is important. The food is important, but seeing another person and talking to them on a daily basis is
Human
equally
contact is equally
human
as important.
contact." We've seen this on numerous crisis situations that have come up before in the not too distant past when we had the awful shooting over in Sutherland
Right,
Springs.
right,
Our
right.
volunteers were out that next week. The majority of our clients had not talked to other people during that time. They had to talk. They wanted some to hear someone else to reassure that life is good and someone cares about them when we're going forward. That's what we're seeing right now.
Yeah, it's challenging. You know, so our clients are the most at risk with what's going on right now.
Absolutely.
And in some ways, by this isolation that they're living in, they're the most protected. And so that's a good thing, but we want to keep them as safe as we can. As we're sending people to their house every day, we want to be safe in doing that. So we're temperature checking all of our staff and volunteers. And if anybody's got even close to a temperature, I almost went home earlier and then I realized I had just been sitting in front of the heater in my car. I was like, let me sit still for about 10 minutes and then see if I go back to normal.
Yes, we should have said that on the radio. Someone will use that.
So I did. Will tempt me and I'm good. But anyway, so we're trying to be as safe as we can, but still maintain that contact. And, you know, I went out and delivered a route this week and I had a lady that said, no, you can come up and hand me things and whatever. If I'm going to get it, I'm going to get it. And I was like, well, I don't want you to appreciate that. Don't want it to be for me though. So I'm going to put your food on this chair and I'm going to step back. But really the thing that was wild to me about delivering that route earlier in the week was how many of our clients are just unaware in the way that we are all so aware of what's happening and it's all we can hear and think about and talk about. They're not. You know, we had one guy that we said, we're stepping back because of the coronavirus and we're trying to say, he said, isn't that a thing that's like happening in China? And here now, sir. They're so isolated that they don't know what's going on. So it's an interesting challenge of wanting to serve them as best we can, understanding that they might not fully understand what's going on.
Right.
And trying to be careful.
Right. Well, you guys are more than, I mean, your volunteers are more than just deliverers of food and more than just, you know, a sounding board. They actually serve as counselors. Because, you know, the number one job of a counselor, people think that our counselors think that their number one job of a counselor is to talk all the time. Actually, the number one job of a counselor is to listen.
Right.
And your volunteers are excellent listeners.
That's exactly right. We are making some changes starting on Monday.
Yes, sir.
That it was a difficult decision to come to, and it's had none of us are happy about it. I can tell you that at the start. But we are having some people who are volunteers unable to because of their age or health situation. We've had a lot of corporate teams that can no longer volunteer. So as opposed to having almost 50 pickup points around San Antonio and Bexar County for volunteers to go and pick up their meals and go into the neighborhoods, we're pulling back. And all of the meals are going to be picked up at our headquarters location, Babcock and 410. They're near the medical district.
Wow.
But we are doing that in such a way that is hopefully going to be the best for everyone, and that we unfortunately cannot continue on a 5-day-a-week delivery method for everybody getting a meal every day of the week.
Okay.
We're going to go to a Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday delivery.
Okay.
Same amount of food, in some cases significantly more food going to the clients' homes, but we're going to be calling and checking them in between, but it's safer for everyone.
Yes, it is.
All the way around. And Will, you want to talk about this?
Everyone wants to talk about numbers. Every moment we're spending is how can we serve more creatively, imaginatively. What we have found is that people think we do a lot. There's a lot more we need to do. There's a lot more we can do, I think.
Okay.
We just got to use imagination a little bit.
Okay.
Keep production up. Keep finding ways to serve our clients and those who come and ask for help. We're finding that the community is great. There's great partnerships out there. There's great folks that are willing to do a lot of just amazing things that may seem inconsequential, but in the big run, they're tremendously. Chow Train is making some stuff for us. It's hard to describe when you want to do more and people are just literally trying
overwhelming
you with how much they want to help.
So
But we're committed to do as much as we can for as many as we can in the best ways we can for as long as we can. With the community with us, it's happening.
Yes,
and that says a lot about the San Antonio.
Well, that's the one thing. That's the one thing about San Antonio that makes us unique as a big city. There are so many people. You know, Texas, when it comes to social services, was one of the our government are one of the lowest providers among states in the entire country. But in San Antonio, we service more people of need, regardless of what the need might be, than any other big city, simply because of people like you and the volunteers. I've had over 179 nonprofits on my shows over the last several years that handle everything from soup to nuts. There is a sickle cell organization that's been on the last couple of weeks because they're doing things differently because they're very high risk people and some of the things that they're doing and it's just and people like yourselves. I mean, a lot of your time you don't get paid for. A lot of I mean, each of you could be a CEO of a corporation making six figures, and you choose to do what you do, and that's what makes San Antonio a great city because there are a lot of people like yourself. So thank you.
Thank you. That's very, very kind of you. Well, what we've been attempting to do is get as much as much meals and food into the homes as we possibly can. I'm tongue-tied here.
So when you're talking about, I read in the press release like something you're doing. So they get the hot meal. And then they get what's the other thing that they get for the off days?
We've been giving contingency meals
or
supplemental meals, but we know that if a person is eating, the chances of them, should illness come upon them, they're in much better shape to get through it.
Absolutely.
In a normal time, someone had some incident happen to them, they had to go through the emergency room. They're going to come out of that emergency room a whole lot quicker, or a hospital stay a whole lot quicker if they're eating. So that we know.
Absolutely.
So we've been pushing as much food into the homes as we can, this is eating. They're going to be better off. We've got to get food in there for days that we can't get into there. Right. We have a major production line set up this afternoon of making what we call our shelf-stable boxes, or emergency food boxes. That's just phenomenal, but they're sustaining, because should we not be able to get in there, these people can continue to eat, and Will's been heading that out.
So we are constructing a 4-meal equivalent type of box.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, in really 4 days equivalent. It's covering the minimal number of calories.
So our goal is to target our target demographic with the essential calories and macronutrients needed to keep the event of interrupted service, or a day we can't get, or they're out, or we just miss them for whatever reason.
And in times past, we've done 2-day boxes for things like spring storms, hurricanes that come up and flood part of the area and whatnot. But here, this is an expanded box with a significantly higher caloric content that's going to pack a little more punch to help sustain these.
Very nicely done. Now, I hate to bring this up, but I have to. So I had the mayor on a week or so ago, and we were talking about things about the people who are sick, who are shut in, who are this or that. And so there's this group. I mean, you guys have your constituents, but then there's still another group of people that are underserved, who might get out once in a while, or they take the bus or they take the cab and they go and they get their things. But now those people are now sick and shut in. And so I asked the mayor, how were we going to address those individuals? And you know what he told me?
He said, we're going to do it, probably.
Well, I just want to bring it up. I mean, because from a transparency, and I talked to the mayor a lot, so he'll probably kill me later. But because I reminded, but no, and obviously you guys can't do everything for everybody. But are you doing anything special for people that you currently don't serve that might be affected by the social distancing?
Well, we are hoping to do more. We're working with some area food service professionals with so many of our restaurants shut down, catering businesses down. Will mentioned the Chow Train, who has jumped in and helping in food production, which is helping us ramp up our food production.
So they're actually helping you actually prepare meals?
They are preparing some bulk food,
Okay.
and what that allows us to do is amp up production on our side and take theirs to supplement our production.
Oh, wow.
And that allows us to create this.
That's where the box comes from.
Well, this is where the contingency meal comes from.
Contingency
Yeah.
meals, I think.
Yes, sir.
And so
Right.
in this coming week, and if everything comes about that we're hoping to, but in these uncertain times, we can't. It's not like planning month to month, week to minute.
Absolutely.
But we hope to have enough food product coming out, plated meals that we're going to be able to actually share with groups around town for delivery.
Wow.
That's our
Distribution.
goal.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for
But
that.
that's
Awesome.
called a community effort, and so
That-
there's a lot of people involved.
A lot of moving wheels, or a lot of things
Yes.
going on there to
Right.
work together.
Not-
But you gotta have someone. The fact that you guys have stepped into that role, that's very admirable, and thank you so much for doing that.
You're
That was-
kind. We were. I was on the phone yesterday with Eric Cooper of the Food Bank, and Food Bank, like us, is challenged. Number
Yes,
of
they
calls
are.
coming in. I mean, it is phenomenal. But one of the issues we have is with the supply chain, and
Right.
the supply chain is a little hinky at the moment.
Well,
and,
you
we
know-
need it to smooth out. People stop buying all that
Well,
toilet paper.
I was going to say, the thing is that if people, and that's why I decided to do what we're doing now with these talks, and I don't know who's going to happen next week, because as I told people earlier, I don't know what's going to happen this week. So it depends on what happens this week, and we have on next week. But hearing you on today, and the way Children's Bereavement Center on and what they're doing differently today, and organizations like you guys, it gives people a sense of comfort. And when people have information and they know people are working on solutions, more relaxed. When people have no information, they're at the bottom of the pyramid, and their survival instinct, and it's kind of like every person for themselves, and it's wrong for people to do that, but that's human behavior. It's
So-
human behavior.
Those folks that are calling in, and should any of them be listening to us here, we do ask for their. We're working those calls as quickly as we can. Some we're being able to answer live. Some they need to leave a message for us, and we're calling back. But we are working through those. We're working it all weekend long here, straight on into the coming week, and we'll be getting to everyone. And that doesn't mean we're going to be able to get a meal delivered to everybody,
Absolutely.
but as many needy people out there as we can actually get food to and check on daily, we're going to continue to do so.
So let me ask you this: how can the community help? I mean, is there anything that if you have a person that's in your community that might not be able to get out or anything? Is there anything that neighbors can do to help supplement some of the things that you guys are providing?
Absolutely. So if they have a neighbor that they're concerned about, we have a referral form on our website. Like Vincent said, we're trying to get to calls as quick as we can, so it's a little bit easier for us if people refer through the website, so they can do that. And really the main thing that we need right now is donations. When we started this and we started to see this coming down the pipe, and us and some of our other colleagues were in planning for it, our main drumbeat was we are going to get as much food into these houses as we can. That's the goal. In whatever way that we can, however that works, back end, because the goal is the food. What has been incredible, and to speak to what you were saying about the community, which I preach that every day, I totally agree with you. San Antonio is phenomenal, especially having worked at we're number one. And so the community has really risen up to support us. We still need that support. This week alone, we're sending out about $50,000 in additional food products.
Gosh.
And that's like not including the 5 hot meals that we sent out this week that we do every week.
Huge.
And that's not including labor, and that's not including any of that, but just $50,000 in food. And we are anticipating that it will be that.
No,
or
you
more
could.
every
I mean, the value of that's got to be double to $50,000. When you look at the preparation and the labor and
drivers
everything.
and all that,
Yeah.
right? So, really, donations really can help us right now. And some of our other fundraising activities that we normally would be doing we were supposed to. It's crazy to even think because it didn't occur to me till like 5 o'clock yesterday. But yesterday was supposed to be our annual fundraising luncheon that we do once a year. that we had to cancel.
That
And
is Fiesta,
it
no
feels like
Fiesta.
right.
That's
So
a huge thing.
all that stuff that we normally would be doing during this time of year to raise money is on hold because we're just trying to get food out. So as much as people can help us with that, and you can go to our website, there's a pop-up box that first thing you see when you click on it, you can click to that, and that specifically goes to food that we're providing during this time.
Well, those of you that are paying attention out there, which I know everyone is, I didn't mean that really, but those of you that are in attendance today, and maybe some of you that will watch it later, please, this is one organization that every dollar donating that you donate or every product you donate, it actually goes to people in need. So this is one of the most really altruistic organizations that are in existence, and especially the Meals on Wheels of San Antonio. I have one more question I'd like to ask, just to see if you guys have maybe considered it. So what if we have people that organizations that currently that provide food for homeless people. Mm-hmm. So do you have any advice if those individuals, because I've gotten calls, some of those organizations were looking to what would be the process for them to, and maybe you don't know this, so please don't. But is there a way that they can provide, say normally it's for homeless people if they get extra food and want to deliver meals? Is there a process or something they should sit through if they want to do that?
It's hard, not impossible. If they can get into an environment where they can use like the ice cream truck analogy, where they can kind of migrate through a certain area and serve those clients. Some are migratory, some are less migratory. Right. Some want to move, some don't. Right. But if they could stay mobile and then they could get their product around the area where they can pinpoint where the need is, I think they could find some success. I really do.
Wow.
And we were talking about this when we were downtown earlier in the week. Do it and try to have the food distribution in such a way so that you're not gathering large crowds.
Right, so they're actually taking it out. Right.
Yes. So.
That is interesting. I've got to explore that further because people are looking to help, because that's the type of city we are.
Right.
And so they, some of them are churches, some of them are not other nonprofits like yourselves. So if there's some kind of but once again, there's no coordinated effort because that end of the spectrum kind of typically is not thought about because so many other people are in need. So it's not that people don't care, but it's it is what it is. So, but I appreciate you sharing that with us because that's the biggest thing. You don't want to give someone advice and then have a bunch of people get sick because they were in a large gathering or they were.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Wow. Well, I'm just overwhelmed by the work that you guys are doing, and thanks so much. I know probably have taken up too much of your time, but thank you so much for the information.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for what you do. You're a reassuring voice to the people of San Antonio.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
I mean that with all sincerity, sir. Too much hype, too much sensationalism, too much shout. When we're talking going into the homes, we were out delivering almost 6,000 meals last Saturday.
Wow.
Which seems like a month ago. Some ways it seems like it's 2 days ago.
Oh, yeah.
I said 5,000. It's like 3 people came back and was like, they could not have delivered 5,000. I was like, no, I'm telling you, 5,000. Now it's 6,000.
A couple of the people I delivered meals to were really, they were somewhat agitated, and they had been watching too much of the shout stuff that was going on cable and shock radio. We're all going to get through this together.
I'm trying to get people to read more. I'm trying to get people to turn off the TV because first what happens is that I said it earlier. But one of my things I use with my clients that are facing a lot of anxiety is the worst thing that ever happened to you is if it never happened. We create this reality that's really not reality, and 4 days later. We've even forgot that we were worried about it, and now we're worried about something else, But and then that comes from the information overload, I believe, and I think that going back and just exercising the brain, building a cognitive ability, you can just read any type of reading, not audiobooks, but I mean truly like reading, And I'm promoting a family reading hour. Everybody pick a book in the family. Next time everybody sit down and talk about the chapters that they read, over dinner and things. And those types of things will help people kind of get through this. But if you just sit and you watch cable news all day, you're going to slit your wrists. I mean, because I think it's designed to do that.
Right.
They're designed to kind of parse out the population a little bit. That's what they mean by the whole spread thing. They'll get enough people to kill themselves because they think that the end of the world is coming. And obviously, I did not mean that. But it seems everything's so fatalistic.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be that way.
Well, thank you for having us down.
Thank you so much. KYV FM, the heart and soul of San Antonio. We've had Forrest Maine, William Trulove, and Vincent Ferris here with us today, telling us all the different things that they're doing. If you are calling in and you're watching today because you thought we were going to tell you what to do to get food, and you've already called in, just be patient. They will get back to you. If you haven't called in or if you haven't put in an application, you can feel free to do that. But we're not sure that you'll be able to be served. But we're going to do their to do. If you're listening and you have neighbors that are perhaps sick and shut in or what have you, find out what it is that you can do. If you can cook a meal and you can get it to those people that need it, and you can do it in a safe way, then I would suggest that you do that. There's all kinds of things on the city website, and there's all kinds of things we're posting about safe ways to handle food, about social distancing, and all those kinds of things and how to do that. So please adhere to those things the best that you can. We will. This is repeatedly. Appreciating that Meals on Wheels does. You guys keep up your great work. Thank you so much. God bless each and every one of you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate you, sir.
KRV FM, the heart and soul of San Antonio. Dr. Doug here on the Saturday Conversation. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Really appreciate you, sir.